the emotions running through my head before going on stage and before my performance was that I was really nervous, as always. I always am before I perform in front of an audience. I know for a fact that I sound better when I'm singing alone, or when it's in front of people I'm comfortable with. But then when I get on stage, I listen back to videos and I just know I sound completely different. And it's mainly because I know that I push my voice, and I was just worried that I was going to do the same thing again. And I was also worried about whether the aux would work, or whether I'd get a phone call or my phone would die, because I was playing the songs through my phone, through the aux into the DI box on stage. But I remember to put it on flight mode and I charged my phone till it was on 100%, but I was still obviously paranoid and had those thoughts running through my head, thinking that maybe somehow it'd run out of battery. You can't really always trust software. But then again, all the stuff that was on stage was basically software, so I feel like 3 aspects that went really well during my performance was the fact that I remembered all my lyrics. Rhythmically, I sounded good, I was in time. The audience seemed to be enjoying it. There were people clapping and singing along. I felt like it was very entertaining and overall just quite fun. On the other hand, the 3 elements that I thought could have gone better and made my performance run a little bit less smooth was the fact that on the Jorja Smith song, On My Mind, where Mark was playing the guitar, was meant to be playing the guitar for, at the start it was very difficult to get the guitar working, and it was around 5 minutes where we were just trying to sort that out, which made me feel a little bit anxious, a little bit uncomfortable. But in the end we got it all worked out, and because I was on stage for a little bit longer, it meant that I was a little bit more comfortable. So actually, in fact, the On Your Mind song by Jorja Smith went the best, because I started getting comfortable on stage. Something to do to not let this happen next time is make sure that you know how things work on stage before you go on, because it's a bit unprofessional if you don't. I mean, I know Mark will probably know, but it was just in the moment I feel that we just didn't know what to do, we panicked. I also feel that another aspect that went a little bit bad was the fact that I knew this was going to happen anyway, that the first song was going to be the worst song because I was nervous. But I feel like I sounded really bad when I sang American Boy, at the start at least. Pitch was a little bit off, and it was a little bit loud, the backing track at the start, so made it very hard for me to actually hear myself. But there's nothing I can really do to make this better. All I can do is, as I said, or as I keep saying, is just breathe. But if you're nervous, sometimes you can't really do much about it. But at least I kind of carried on, knowing that I was sounding a little bit off. I also feel another element that was made my performance a little bit less smoother was the fact that every other band had quite a lot of instruments on stage, which made quite a lot of noise. Whereas with me, I obviously had the aux and Mark on the guitar from one song, which meant that you could hear the audience talking, which made it quite distracting, and it made me feel a little bit anxious about if it was me sounding bad. But I knew that in other performances people were talking, but you just can't hear them over the large sound. But next time, I guess, get more musicians to come and play for you, because backing tracks are good to some extent, but it does definitely sound a lot more professional and a little bit better sounding if you have people who play instruments on stage, and it is more fun, in my opinion. So that's something to bear in mind for my next performances. I feel like my band, I mean, Mark and George did really well. George was really entertaining. He learnt all his parts. And I feel like Mark learnt his parts as well. And people were cheering them on, so that does give you a good sign that they did well. Myself, I feel like I did the best I could for the fact that I was nervous, and with my whole breathing and my whole being on stage and doing my whole movements, I feel like it went good. I feel like it could have been better at the start, and obviously those little 3 elements could have been better. But I feel that the audience did enjoy it, and I did get feedback saying it was really entertaining, so I guess that's a positive. comment.